Hey you guys, welcome to week 9 where we are going to be talking about sleep and the weight loss connection. Sleep is such a simple thing. It's something you're doing every day, but are you getting enough? And do you understand? And I want to make sure you understand the connection between sleep or lack of sleep and weight loss. And I should say performance as well, because it really affects your performance and your injury rate when you're not sleeping. When you have kids, it's really hard. And I always think about how, as moms, we really fuss about giving our kids sleep routines and bedtime routines so that they go to sleep and they get well rested, because if they don't sleep, they're super cranky and they are not at their best. But we don't do the same for ourselves. And then we expect in these early years of baby, and there's something called postpartum depletion up to 10 years after baby, after having those kids, where you're not sleeping, you're depleted, and then we throw running on top of that, and we wonder why we're not losing weight. We wonder why we're getting injured. We wonder why we just feel exhausted, right? And it has to do a lot with what we talked about last week, which was the adrenal fatigue. Like, they go together, right? So we've got to address sleep and appreciate that it's just as much a part of the program as any of the workouts. And you always hear people in the fitness circles for sure saying sleep's overrated in our busy world. It's overrated, but it's not, because inadequate sleep over extended periods of time may interfere with your immune function, production of white blood cells, hormonal regulations. It leads to chronically elevated levels of cortisol. And if you remember from before, cortisol is that stress hormone that causes your body to hold on to fat. So when that stress hormones going and you're going, like, your body's holding on to the stuff that you really just want to get rid of, right? And lack of sleep contributes to more stress, and that it's just this negative cycle of effect on your body. It also causes impaired immunity, elevated levels of hormones such as insulin, which we talked about before. Too much insulin causes your body to hold on to fat as well, especially in that midsection. You also can be developing systemic inflammation, and it leads to more risk of type 2 diabetes. This is from Dr. David Katz from the book Disease Proof. It's saying that it also leads to changes in leptin and ghrelin, which regulate your hunger and that feeling of full. So it's just like, again, all of this negative sequelae of not sleeping, right? Insulin, cortisol, impaired ability to feel hungry. You're always feeling hungry, never feeling satisfied, grazing, not sleeping, body's holding on to fat. Like, if you're not sleeping, it's really difficult to function. This doesn't even talk about the performance, right? We're going to talk about that as we go through there. So let's dive into sleep, you guys. I mean, you're busy. You're running around. If you have kids, they get sick, especially those of you with babies out there. Like, it's really important to understand that you have a lack of sleep. And I can talk to this because I didn't sleep for 4 or 5 years. I still sleep with my boys, because if I didn't, I'd be running back and forth and I wouldn't be sleeping, and I couldn't live like that. So I know what it feels like to be exhausted. I know what it feels like to not be able to focus. I know what it feels like to just feel foreign in your body and frustrated and still want to run and push those distances, but you have to pull back, because just pushing yourself, you're just driving yourself into the ground, and you're never going to feel better. You're never going to get the weight loss. You're never going to feel good unless you are sleeping. So it's something that really must be addressed. So in those first years of baby, I mean, pushing marathons and half marathons and all this stuff is really hard on your body, causing you more stress than you probably need. And I know, again, because I've come to the other side of that, where I have made sleep a priority. I have worked on short distances because I need to run, right? Like, I know that you need to run because of the emotional stability that it brings to you. But if you're not hitting your goals and you're exhausted, it's really a good idea to shift your goals, okay? Understand what your body needs, listen to it, and give it to your body. There's just as much joy and glamour in running short distances without causing that extra undue stress to your body. I can't stress how important this is and how it's such an overlooked piece of the training. I want you guys to be healthy from the inside out. That's where this comes from, right? And sleep is just so important for repair and rejuvenation. There's a lot in the guide here talking about, how busy we are in life and how much stimuli we have and how much processed food we eat with no nutritional value, and then we're still not sleeping on top of it. Like, this is just such a negative cycle and we're getting sick over and over and we wonder why. And then we're messing with those cortisol levels and causing weight gain. So this is all in the guide. You can read this up. It talks a lot about, I mean, that's the basic thing, right? When you're not sleeping, cortisol's up. You feel hungrier even though you've eaten enough, so you're still grazing, contributing to that emotional eating that you can't get under control. It's raising your blood sugars, your insulin levels, causing you to crave more carbohydrates, and it makes sleeping difficult, so you're actually not even getting great sleep, all causing weight gain or holding you back from gaining weight. And when you're also training a lot, pushing hard, running long distances, you are basically overtraining. You're just overtraining, right? You're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're not doing any of those other things, which is why I've created this program from a holistic perspective of running, not just about running and running and running. We gotta get these other issues under control. We gotta create sleep habits for ourselves so that you can feel and perform at your best in all aspects of your life. Optimizing sleep, it's gonna allow your body to burn fat more effectively and increase your energy throughout the day, which feels... And when you get to the other side of that, you feel amazing. You're like, how did I ever function? I remember trying to fill out a passport application. I was on my 5th one. It's like I couldn't focus. Like I wasn't sleeping. I was training a ton. I was barely eating. I'm trying to fill out this passport application. I was crying at my mom's table, and she just thought I was a nut. But like I was totally sleep deprived. I couldn't function. I couldn't think. I couldn't focus. And I mean, that's all behind me now, and I'm on the other side, and I feel amazing, and I still don't sleep as much as I should. Sleep is the hardest thing for me, but it's a different kind of sleep I'm getting now. It's not interrupted when I do sleep. It's that interrupted sleep, but you just never get into it. I mean, optimally, for optimal fat burning, optimal performance, optimal function of your body, 6 to 8 hours a night is what you want to be, going for. What else can I share with you here? Again, it's in the guide. You can read through it, but lack of sleep also affects your willpower, right? You're depleted. You end up not caring, and so you skip workouts or you just eat whatever you feel like. So that's a really big problem. Sleeping, I say 6 to 8. It's somewhere in that 6 to 9 hours of that 6 to 9 hours, that range in there, which is best. It's different for everybody, try your best. And then there's a whole bunch of lifestyle habits. Like, we all know things that can make us sleep better. Like, we do. It's like we all know what we should be eating, but we're not doing it. We all know how to try and get some better sleep, but we're not doing it. So the key is to try something for 2 or 3 weeks. Give it a really good trial. Be religious about it, right? I like the first one here, change your sleep mindset. Often we tell ourselves that we can't sleep much. I got kids, I got this, I got that. I can't sleep, it's impossible. It's like, well, actually there's always something you can do, right? You're probably sitting in bed with your phone, dawdling around, when you can just turn everything off. You can throw something in your diffuser that you find really calming and soothing, and just do that and create some habits and tell yourself that you're working on your sleep, right? Become more mindful, just like we've become more mindful of our movement, we become more mindful of our eating. Let's become more mindful about our own sleep habits and begin to reframe our story about sleep a bit so we can make some peace with sleep and maybe get some better sleep. Establishing regular sleep hours. This is a really big one. It goes along with structuring your day and being ruthless with your time, but trying to go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day, 7 days a week. I'm going to bed at 7 or at 10, and I'm waking up at 6 every day. I don't care if it's the weekend. I don't care what I'm doing. I need to be in bed by 10 o'clock, and I'll woke it up at 6 o'clock, right? That can be really, really helpful to try. And our stress glands, the adrenals, recharge us between the hours of 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. based on our circadian rhythms. So you definitely, you want to try be in bed before 11 p.m. That would be really probably helpful for your body to facilitate really restful sleep. Setting up a good evening routine, again, I think to the kids, right? We always want to make sure they come home and they have their bath, and we rub their bellies and their feet with lavender, and we snuggle them in with a book, and we kiss them, and we turn the light off. We have routines, and children thrive on routines. We need to do the same for ourselves. Have a eucalyptus shower, a lavender Epsom salt bath. Do a little bit of silent meditation with some frankincense in the diffuser, right? In your gratitude journal. Put some lavender in the diffuser by your bed and go to sleep. Like, try and create some kind of routine for yourself and be religious about it, something that's going to soothe and calm you and send the signals to your body that it's time for bed. That can drastically improve your ability to sleep. And again, try it for 2 to 3 weeks to see if it helps you. Avoid using a loud alarm clock. You really shock your system when that goes on. So we have this great alarm that it plays like gentle music when it goes off, and it's a great way to wake up as opposed to like, remember that alarm just like sets you off, and yeah, it's just an awful way to wake up. So there's a few other ones. Sleep in complete darkness. Turn on the lights or open the blinds as soon as you wake up. Get some light in there to stimulate and wake your brain up, help you reset your body clock, and ensure your melatonin levels remain unawake until the evening. So lots of daylight during the day is really helpful as well if you can get outside. Try not to nap in the daytime. I'm sure not a lot of us are napping in the daytime, although I wish I could sometimes. But and then nutrition to improve sleep is really important. Just like nutrition is going to improve your running, nutrition is going to improve those adrenal fatigue symptoms. Nutrition can improve your sleep, and it's actually really, really connected to your sleep, right? Lots of sugars, lots of empty carbohydrates are going to affect your sleep. Try not to eat in the 2-hour period before going to bed. I mean, I say that for sleep, but I also often eat before bed because I'm hungry, because I'm running so much. So you need to balance and don't stress about it. Should I or shouldn't I? Tune in. Am I hungry? What's going to nourish me? And just make sure it's something healthy before bed, and take note if it keeps you up at night or if it's okay, right? Don't drink fluids before bed. Try to reduce the likelihood, of having to get up to go pee at night, because that's going to wake you up and interrupt your sleep. So I like caffeinated tea. Often a lot of us love diffusing something calm at night instead of having a cup of tea. It can kind of replace, because a lot of this stuff is habitual, right? Like wine. 1 or 2 glasses of wine at night. I used to always do that when my kids went to bed. I'd have wine. What would happen is I wouldn't sleep well. I wake up really exhausted with even just a glass of red wine at night would like make me exhausted and puffy and just feeling really terrible. So I replaced that habit with lavender, sometimes lavender and frankincense or lavender and white fir, and just calming my senses at night when they go to bed instead, and that really helped. And then I would have a good quality sleep and wake up feeling rested. That was a real game changer for me. I'm avoiding caffeine at night, of course. Again, avoiding alcohol, which I just talked about. Avoiding foods you might be sensitive to. So again, this is where you definitely want to get rid of the processed sugar, the processed foods late at night, that emotional eating. Be mindful of it and how it makes you feel. That's the best way to get through it, is be mindful of it and be honest with how it makes you feel, and say, do I want to sleep well or do I want to eat this, right? Because food sensitivities and eating food full of sugar and then going to sleep is going to affect your sleep, okay? It just does. Here, to maintain hormonal balance, menopausal women, for those of you guys out there, need to eat more food containing estrogen, including soy, flax seeds, and fennel throughout your day. So again, I'm not a nutritionist. We can look this up. I can connect you with a nutritionist. There's probably some in the Facebook group. If you need to go in and ask some questions, I can always track down some of my amazing nutrition friends. But these are the tips that they've given me, and I'm passing them on to you as well. So you guys, sleep, super, super critical, super important part of the program. I always love that quote where it's like, muscles are broken down in the gym, fed in the kitchen, and rebuilt in bed. It's so true. You can't skip any one of those pieces when you are training, when you want to run strong, when you want to get fit, when you want to be at your healthiest. And again, I love the concept of getting healthy from the inside out, and sleep is one of those. And it also is related to injuries, you guys, because when you are running exhausted, you are at higher risk of injury. Your muscles are tiring faster. You are running out of good form and alignment. You are shifting. You are hunching. That's where you're going to get hurt. So when you're ramping up those distances and you're tired, you have so much more risk of getting injured. I know for me, when I go for a long run or any kind of run on a night after a night where I haven't slept, I get this sciatic stuff going on, this SI joint stuff going on, and it's not that my injuries are flared up. It's simply because I'm exhausted and I'm running shifted. I'm running tired. My muscles aren't holding me, right? So some days, some weeks, some months, you guys just need to focus on more rest. And please know that that's okay. Like, running long distances doesn't define you. That's our egos that are getting us. There's this culture in running where we need to run longer and we need to run more, and we're not really runners if we're walking or if we're only doing a 5K or if we're focusing on other things. We get addicted to the running. We get addicted to the feeling. We love to count our miles. But I want you guys healthy from the inside out. And sometimes in life, after kids and with everything else going on in life, we need to dial back the distance. We need to dial back the push. We need to just be present and fuel our bodies with what it needs. And sleep is included. Low mileage is important. Rest is important. It doesn't mean you sit on the couch and eat chips. It means you just focus on creating sleep habits. You focus on eating well and tuning into how your food is making you feel. You focus on mindful movement, meditation, running because it simply feels good, and movement is medicine, as opposed to I'm going to run a marathon. And I see this all the time, and we need to reshift that in these years after kids, because if you can, and then you can get strong and you can get well rested and you can get well nourished with your food, you're going to be back to running those marathons, and you're going to be doing them way stronger than you are when you're exhausted, you know? So I hope that this makes sense to you. I hope that you're going to focus on some sleep. I want you guys to tell me, how many hours of sleep are you getting on average? You know, choose one or two things that you can try to implement from here on in, and try them 2 or 3 weeks. See if it makes a difference. Like, I'm going to get into bed by 10 o'clock. I'm going to shut off all devices. I'm going to be in the dark. I'm going to write in my gratitude for journal for before I go to sleep. Or I'm going to try those essential oils and have a eucalyptus shower followed by lavender by my bed. You know, change your story on sleep and know that you do have control over it. You just need to change the patterns and facilitate, create the opportunity of more sleep for your body, because it wants to sleep, but it's fighting against us and what we're doing, and the stress and the nutrition and our bad habits. So support your body and give it what it needs, and you do have control. And try to get some more sleep because you'll feel way better. Take care.